Hello, welcome to the set.
Ready, Mitch?
Yep. Rolling. And action. About 3 or 4 years ago, one of my good friends and acting student of mine introduced me to Tony Smith.
I had actually sold a car to a girl that took an acting class from Ken, and she referred me to Ken. And I originally had meetings with Chuck Thomas and gave him some ideas and sketched things out, and we talked about different stories.
Tony called me probably about 4.5 years ago and answered a Craigslist ad from him asking someone to write him a draft for a story he had. So I left him a message. He called me and said he had this great idea for a TV show that takes place at a car lot.
After 25 years in the automobile business with Porsche, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz, I felt like I had some good stories to share with everybody, and next thing you know, we thought we had something that might be a little different, and here we are today.
I thought that this idea would work as a TV show, so I set about doing it, and now 4.5 years later, here we are.
And that's when we decided we need to make this. So Tony and I put our own money in to make this sizzle reel, this sales piece, to get Retreads on the air.
We took a couple of episodes down to the creative studios there, and we read them aloud with actually some of the actors that are here today.
And so we started getting people involved little by little. We found Ben Glebe, who's a stand-up comedian who we thought would be an amazing Tony. And Ben was recently named by Esquire magazine as one of the 6 stand-up comedians on the verge of a breakout. We hope it's with Retreads. Retreads is the story of a very successful luxury car dealer.
But really also about a father and son and their difficult relationship. I play the son of Big Daddy Mayfield. I play Tony Mayfield.
And the role that I was playing was Big Daddy Randy Mayfield, who is the head of a automobile agency, and he is about to pass the reins of his agency over to his very inept and unqualified son.
The owner, Randy Mayfield, Big Daddy, is having health problems. He's had 6 heart attacks in 3 years, and he has to reluctantly give over his dealership, his kingdom, to his underachieving son.
Oh my God, you're crying?
You're alive. Holy Lord.
Yes, I'm alive, you idiot.
Big Daddy's a legend. #1 Porsche dealer in the country for 30 years running. His health is failing. He taps me to take the place over. I'm ill-equipped. I have a lot of love and respect for him, but he's never been around for me. He never showed me a lot of love growing up.
Our relationship with him is, I love him, he's my son, I'll take care of him, but don't ask me to take him out to supper this week because I got a date.
The dad knows everything, how to do this, and the kid doesn't have a clue. Desire, yes. Clue, no.
But you know me, I always cover my wide and very sexy ass. And to that end, I'm bringing some of the old guys in.
No.
So in order to his son to be successful, I have called in some of the old timers who know how to sell cars.
I'm part bitter, but I also want to prove myself to him. And that's the struggle that my character has to go through.
But it's up to him to make his own way. And he's a little slow in the uptake, but I'm sure he'll get there with my help.
I still kind of see Big Daddy as kind of a King Learian kind of figure where he's still the king, but he's given away all his power, all his prestige, everything.
And of course, the father does not trust the son to be as dynamic in the business as he is, so he brings in 3 or 4 of his old friends.
He brings in his old sales force from the 70s, who still kind of think it's the 70s. And they come in to help Tony run the dealership.
And they know how to sell cars. But in the meantime, they cause a lot of comical situations with the young children who think of themselves as salespeople.
They had very successful careers, and they made a lot of money with Big Daddy, and Big Daddy made a lot of money with them. And they owe Big Daddy, and they come back to pay off their favors. Now, their personality is such, they'll say anything, they'll do anything to sell a car. And they do.
It's based on people that I had worked with over the past 25 years, some old friends. A couple of them, unfortunately, are no longer with us, and it's a little bit of a tribute to them.
So, you know, it's really kind of an homage and a tribute to the way things used to be done when it was very personal, and nowadays it's just very corporate. And that's where the humor lies between the old and the new.
There are some fine people coming in there. My favorite, obviously, is Dr. Nightlife, because he is, in many ways, like me, except that he doesn't know how to hold on to his money. His money goes out as fast as it comes in, but he has an adventurous life, and he and I get along famously, and we share a lot of women and a lot of good times.
And I'm Dr. Nightlife, a pretty cool former Porsche exotic car salesman who knows how to tear up a hotel room with a beautiful woman.
And the hotel room is tore up.
Set it on fire.
My high heel is actually wedged in a TV set.
I thought you cleaned up.
I have. No cops, no dead bodies, only one woman.
Doc is a wild man, but he sells cars, a lot of them. And of course, then there's Lion Wayne, who you cannot trust for anything in the world.
Lion Wayne is pretty low down. I don't know if I'm as low down as Lion Wayne, but I'll try to be there, yeah.
Lance Romance, he's just an imitation of the Big Daddy. He thinks he knows about women.
You know, I think he's interested in helping him, you know, showing him the ropes. But, you know, he sees the female, and it's like, oh, who's the hottie?
And then, of course, there's Skinny Vinny.
Skinny Vinny's the best. He's from Jersey. He's come back to teach these young puppies how to get it done.
We're shooting the scenes where the retreads, the old guys, come into the dealership for the first time in, you know, probably 10 years anyway. And they kind of fight over the office, the best chair, the receptionist.
We're going to try and not only revitalize the business, but make it a viable business for his son, and let that continue to be a family legacy, and try to save it from this sort of evil queen ex-wife that's coming into the picture.
These three retreads, Clayton Landy as Skinny Vinny, Bart Hansard as Lion Wayne, and Randall Taylor as Lance Romance, three of them had some incredible chemistry. And we asked them to improv some stuff, and it was like, holy moly. It was amazing the stuff that they did.
We're having as much fun as there is in the script. We're filling in all the spaces. We're having a good time.
I think between what they would like to see, what's been written, and what's been created in the day, and the flexibility he got with that, I think he's going to be real happy. And I was happy with working with him, yeah. It's a lot of freedom to kind of play with the characters and ad-lib a little bit, and that's always a lot of fun.
On the day of the dealership, the retreads and the young salespeople, I mean, they came in with so much that all I do is give them little nudges this direction, little nudges that direction, and there they go. And as a director, it's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see. And the three young actors, Dorsey Levens, Megan Hayes, and Omer Muggle, three of them held their own with those guys, you know, and their reactions and the way they stood up to them was beautiful.
My character is Ben Speedy Gonzalez. I'm actually a aspiring race car driver.
I was playing the role of Victor Gray. Doesn't take any crap. Gonna get these old guys to run for their money.
I play Brenda Jorgensen, one of the car sales people. Well, she's a little hostile in a fun way. She's very sassy.
But I think everyone has their own little quirks, and I think there's going to be, you know, some tension between the old guys and the new guys. Of course, tension for Tony because he has to deal with everybody.
The old guys come on board. At first, we're a little bit apprehensive, you know. We feel a little intimidated. I think they're taking over our spot, essentially.
And when the guys show up, they're sort of taking over, and they're like, who are these lunatics invading the dealership?
I played in the NFL for 11 years. I had some young farts come to take my job. So yeah, I understand. Very uncomfortable feeling, to say the least.
And so that's where there's a lot of heated debate between the old and the young.
You know, you got to put up with them, you got to put up with them. They're punks, they don't know what they're doing, they're just these little tadpoles, like Lion Wayne says. You know, you got to teach them, that's all.
So there's definitely the young versus old, and then they're much more corporatized. They're kind of in matching, you know, polo shirts and khakis, and we come in just sort of disheveled, and we're going to show them the ropes, and we just pretty much stomp all over their turf when we come in.
But we learned that we have to work together as a team.
And I think what you'll see in the course of the show is that they're teaching the newer salesmen like some of these tricks of the trade and these ways to sort of always close on their deals and everything.
You set two sets of storylines. The young kids have their storylines, we have our storylines, and then you put those in opposition, and anything can happen, absolutely.
I thought everybody was great. Everybody, especially the older guys. I thought they were hilarious, great comedic actors. Timing was awesome. Guys are right on point. I think it's going to be hilarious. I really do.
As a director, I like to rehearse with the actors before we get there. We had a lot to shoot in a very little bit of time. But these actors came in very well prepared, and I was able to work with them on set and really get their performance out. Sometimes I have to whisper in their ear, sometimes I can just talk to them from behind the camera, but I think that they get it. Casting is a lot of it.
Ken Feinberg directs a scene with a calm, assuring confidence that you don't find in many directors. And fortunately, I've been with Ken on several shoots, and I've been in a couple of plays that he's directed, and he is without a question the best director that I've ever worked for.
It's awesome. Ken is a very generous guy to work with, a very open-minded director and producer. He really lets you give a lot of input, and that's so nice to have a collaborative environment on the set.
I love working with him. This is my first time working with him as a director. I love his style, very encouraging. He tells you exactly what he wants, how he wants it done.
It's fun. He knows what he wants. He knows how to talk to us, you know. I mean, he knows how to talk to an actor. He knows how to run a set. It's a good thing.
Ken's great. He's very actor-friendly, lets you improvise, gives great direction, very specific, which is always helpful.
He's just always positive, always reaffirming, always supportive, and, just a great guy to work with and a great friend.
These actors, they came in, were able to bring something into the table with them, which makes my work as a director that much easier because I can work with their performance and make it into what I want to see. I think the audience will be from young to old. I think younger audience people will identify with the younger sales staff and all their gadgets. I think the older guys will appreciate the retreads and Big Daddy. So it is old versus young. I think depending on where you're in the audience is going to be which character you're going to pull for. Because they're all really good guys. I mean, the antagonist of it all is Alexandra, Big Daddy's wife, who, soon to be his ex-wife, who wants to take over the dealership.
I did approach it with a story arc, so I know there is one there. So I know around about how many seasons we could probably get out.
We have an episode guide for 13 episodes that would make a complete season. We've got a story to tell, and we'll never run out of stories.
And there would be several seasons that would go through, like the main character, Tony, what he goes through, and some of the other younger characters, how they age and start to approach real adulthood because they're just kind of kids now.
Everybody sort of has had to at one time or another buy a vehicle or been involved in that process, and there's as many golden stories as there are horror stories, and I think there's a little bit of humor in all of that.
Well, I mean, there's going to be lots of misadventures over at the Mayfield Porsche dealership, and both within the employees that work there, but also just the insane customers that come visit.
And you set it up with good characters. Characters will always lead you into the story.
And the show really is an ensemble. It's nice to be able to bounce off other actors like that.
Never run out of characters. It's a never-ending cycle, and life goes on, and the names have been changed to protect the guilty.